Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Let's Be Honest with Peter Kozodoy. It right now is day 4 of launch week. We're getting some great traction. And if you've listened to any of the interviews so far, they've been so powerful, so helpful to understand how honesty actually weaves through our lives and influences our businesses and how we even go about structuring the lifestyle we want. It really is fundamental to achieving success. If you have not picked up a copy of Honest to Greatness, please do so. It has reached #1 new release on Amazon in 2 different categories, which is amazing. And thanks to everyone for your support. Today, I have an incredible guest with me, Charles. Charles, say hello to everyone.
Hey, everybody. Nice to be here, Peter. Thank you.
It is awesome for everyone to get to know you and your story. I'm just going to make sure the Facebook settings are good here. And we're off to the races. Charles, in 3 to 4 minutes, tell everyone about you, who you are, what you do, and what gets you fired up and inspired.
Gotcha. All right. So I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 4. That's when I was selling.
All right. Well, you beat me then. Damn, that's pretty good.
Well, there's a long story behind why that happened. Inspiration versus desperation. We can talk about that at some point. But I was an entrepreneur at the age of 4, selling artwork to my neighbors. Carried that all the way up through college, where I studied entrepreneurship and marketing, graduated, starting my own business, eventually created a business that was nominated by Ernst & Young as being one of the world's best seed stage companies, selected as such by Ernst & Young. It's really sort of a fascinating experience. Started a business, another business again in 23, found myself in over $1 million of debt within 24 hours, and ended up in the emergency room for stress. At that point, the stress was so high, my organs were shutting down. Doctor said that I was effectively killing myself.
Wow.
And just another situation where you go from desperation to make decisions. Fortunately, that led me down the right path. Managed to not only pay down my debt, but create my first multi-million-dollar business by the time I was 24 years old. So I continued to create other businesses, one after the other, until in 2010, somebody offered to pay me to help them grow their business. And at that point, I said, I guess I can make something of this. So that's when I started Predictable Profits. And I've been working with companies specializing in 7- and 8-figure companies, helping them scale their business using marketing and sales strategies. Taken several of our clients to the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies list. And that brings me, I'm still doing that. That's 2010, decade later. And I'm still working with some really fascinating, brilliant people. So, that's what I do. And in terms of, what really inspires me, I am surrounded by some of the smartest people on the planet. And so I'm inspired to find more ways in order to serve and help them achieve more of their goals. And I believe that you get paid in direct proportion to the value that you're able to provide people. So when you're surrounded by really, really smart, intelligent people, and you have to provide value to these people who are at the top of their game, that really serves as a source of inspiration. How are you going to do this? And that's what really motivates me.
That's incredible. I'm going to pluck out a couple really important pieces there, if you will. The first is so many of our stories, and I mean people who end up building multi-million-dollar companies have such a symbiosis in the beginning, right? Like you tell the story of going literally $1 million in debt. That's incredible. I mean, I thought I was bad. I went tens of thousands of dollars into debt, the first 2 months after I started my company, right? 22, similar thing. And the level of failure I felt, at least during that time, I won't speak for you, was just like almost catastrophic, right? But out of those ashes, it is actually possible to move forward. Am I right?
Yeah, one of my earlier mentors said, with every challenge comes an equal and opposite opportunity. You may not see the opportunity in that moment, but it happens. And I look back at my life, and at the time when I was in my deepest, darkest hole, if somebody told me at that time, look, this is going to provide you that springboard, that launching board to take you to that next level, I would have thought they were smoking the wacky tobacco.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, if those events didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Charles, I tell the same story about how I even, wrote the book, right? It came out of me, turning 30, deciding I hadn't done nearly enough with my life. And it was, really, really depressing. And if I had understood then what I know now, those are actually the moments where you're about to achieve greatness. Because as you said, like, it turns into inspiration, right? Because there's only two choices. You can lay down and die, or you can actually do something about it and move forward.
Yeah.
So it really is such a lesson that I want every startup entrepreneur out there listening to this to realize. It's like you're only one great idea away. You're only one, really great connection away. And that's always out there as long as you do one thing, as Barbara Corcoran says, which is just don't give up. Charles, the other thing I love and just before we move on, is surrounding yourself with intelligent people makes you want to strive for more. Am I right?
That's accurate.
And I just, it's such a message of my book, when I get to, honesty with the self, and making sure that if there are toxic people in your life, that you get honest about that and you do something about it, and that you surround yourself with people who are going to pull you up, not drag you down. It seems so simple, and yet it's difficult for us to do at times, and yet so important and effective. Charles, reach back into your, into your history. Tell us about a time where you have had to get brutally honest with yourself, personal, business, or family. What was the situation? What did you do? What happened next?
I could probably pull out, thousands of examples.
You and me both, yeah.
At a very basic level, as a leader, the truth matter is I don't operate a charity, right? And I have a for-profit business, and so ultimately, I want to grow and continue to expand our revenue over and over again. And many times it becomes very, very difficult when you have somebody who's very willing to open up their wallets and give you cash, and you have to be honest with yourself and realize that they're the wrong person for the right service. When you have to be willing to have that courage and that honesty to say, I can't help you, but somebody else may be better suited for you. And that's tough. And, that was something that happened as early as yesterday, where somebody literally was ready to sign a contract. It would have been a very healthy 5-figure, encroaching almost at six-figure mark. And yet I had to tell him point blank that, I couldn't help you.
Wow. So
sometimes subordinating your own profit interests, if you really don't believe that that you're the right person to help deliver that result, sometimes that's really where you have to be honest. We live in a small world, man. Transparency is everything. You can only expect the clients that you can deliver on.
Totally agree with you, Charles. And it's not, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not just a matter of, can I help this person achieve a goal, but it's, does this person's core values conflict with my own? And will that lead to issues down the road?
Well, that's almost all the time, right? I specifically, I don't work with people who are looking for an easy button, growth hack, people who are willing to sell their soul just for the sake of making money.
Yep.
That is a definite line in the sand for me. So, this is all about ethical, sustainable business practices.
Sustainable. That's exactly, literally in the conclusion, I say, like, why did I write a book about honesty? Because it's sustainable in ways that lying, in all the ways we define it, about, the client sitting across from us, or our own self-limiting beliefs, or what's going on in society, it's just not sustainable, right? The truth comes out. We have these phrases in the English language, right? So, Charles, would you mind sharing us with your biggest win that you're most proud of? And again, it can be personal, business, family, and perhaps a biggest loss or even regret that you might have.
Well, I think I would just be doing myself a disservice if I didn't say my kids were my biggest win. On a personal level, I am extraordinarily proud of them, and they are perfect in every way.
Not that you're biased or anything, but I believe you.
And they are a source of inspiration. On the professional side, though, I'd have to say that the events that happened earlier this year with COVID and the pandemic, anybody can't. I don't want to say anybody, but it's much easier to be able to grow businesses when times are good.
course.
But it's ultimately when times are bad that you're put to the test. And it wasn't like we're given this warm-up exercise that, okay, look, yeah, times are starting to get bad. Now's your time to, really, boost up all your skills. All of a sudden we wake up one morning, world is shut down.
Yep.
And so it was at that point that the rubber really hit the road. And, we had to gel together as a team and say, what do we need to do in order to serve our clients at the highest level? And 81.6% of our clients achieved the highest revenue that they had achieved in the history of the company during the pandemic. Is still, right now, and that includes industries that you wouldn't have imagined, travel industry, restaurants. So, let alone a bunch of B2B agencies and so forth. So that right there is something that I'm really proud of on behalf of my team, on behalf of my clients. My clients really rallied. So, that I'm, most recently, I'm definitely proud of that.
That's incredible. Yeah, I was speaking at a conference a little while ago with another gentleman who does similar work to all of us, right? Helping founders understand, how to grow a 7-figure company. He said in all the SWOT analyses we did at the end of 2019, under threats, pandemic was not there. I have a feeling going forward it'll be present on the SWOT. What about a biggest loss or regret that you'd like to share?
Again, that's something. Instead of thousands, I probably have millions of losses and mistakes and all that other stuff. When I look back in terms of the magnitude of the loss that I've had personally, this may come to somewhat of a surprise, but it always happened right after things were going awesome. And that's because I started to take my foot off the gas pedal and I started to get comfortable. And I was unwilling to go back to that place of being uncomfortable. And, the magnitude of my losses each time I allowed myself to get comfortable and take my foot off the gas pedal, I mean, that they were, borderline catastrophic. So that I don't want to say that's a regret, because it always ended up, it was like a springboard, a diving board. It took me down, but built enough of that momentum that it brought me up higher than the previous high.
Mm-hmm. So Barbara Corcoran was one of the amazing people who was willing to endorse honest to greatness. And she says the same thing. And I quote her in the book that life is like a rubber ball. The harder you throw it down, the higher it'll bounce back up. I love that you said that, Charles.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. It's great. And I had never thought about it before, but she was right. And you were 100% right. And I've written about this previously, that in the moments where I was in the most despair, I was actually about to have the most amazing upside. And the moments where I thought, okay, I can relax, like everything's good, that was when I was about to fall off the cliff. One of those things, I wouldn't have, believed you if you had told me, but it is true.
When I was in my 20s, I had a mentor who said to me, he says, heed my words, you will be at the closest point you will ever be to breakthrough success at the very moment you want to quit.
Totally.
And I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, no, it's not believable. It's not believable, but it is true. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, it practically brought me to my knees, and I just kept repeating that to myself. Like, am I really at the cllosest point? Am I really at the closest point of success? Because this doesn't feel very successful right now.
Like it.
This is downright scary.
I love that. Yeah. Charles, well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think it's important for every business owner, really anyone in any leadership position, and by the way, every person is a leader in their own life, to hear these things, because it's easy to look at the fake Instagram account full of rented Lamborghinis and think, what am I doing wrong? So I think it's really important that we get these stories. Thank you for sharing. Charles, where can people follow along with you?
Easiest way is to head over to predictableprofits.com. Again, that's predictableprofits.com. There's some resources and whatnot there. We've got some daily videos if you want to get a taste of some of our strategies and ideas. But yeah. predictableprofits.com would be best.
Fantastic. I love that P word, profits. It sings to me. I love it. Charles, thank you so much. Thank you for being honest, right? Thank you for supporting the cause and for helping people out there understand that honesty is important. Folks, if you have not picked up a copy of Honest to Greatness, please do buy them for all your friends and family. We're doing great so far in launch week here, but we need all the support we can get. Why? Because honesty is a big topic. I think, Charles, you'll agree, I stick my neck out for honesty, right?
Oh, yeah.
People are going to come out of the woodwork to say, does that really work? And in case after case in my book, yes, it does. You heard Charles talk about, how he had to get honest with himself and what amazing heights he was able to scale after that. Charles, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, trust me, pleasure is all mine. And until next time, I'm Peter Kozodoy. Thanks for being honest.